James, what's up? How can I help?
My wife and I, we have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old girl, 1-year-old boy, and they're both embryo adoptions. My wife was able to carry them, but they really don't have anything to do with us. So my question is...
Hey, hold on. Hold on. They have everything to do with y'all.
Okay, I do get that. I just don't know. I mean, I guess the proper way to say it. I just want to make sure I got my point across.
Okay, yeah, you got it. They're not your... Is it...
Biological.
Is it your sperm or is it fertilized eggs?
Neither of us.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. So you adopted fertilized embryos, and then you got 2 kids. There you go.
Yes, she carried them, but we just got embryos from the hospital.
Okay, very cool.
So my question is, we have every intention of telling them, but we need to know age appropriate, maybe some unique ways. I've heard of maybe possible books that help with that, like kids' books even.
Sure.
But we need help along the way of when and how and not to make it seem awkward, you know?
Yeah, you betcha, man. Thank you so much for having that heart. Good for you. You just told me the ages and I missed them. 3 and 1, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. So with your 3-year-old, and it happens way quicker than you think it's going to, man, because I was super caught off guard. They will begin exploring their own bodies and whatever words you guys use to decide to call body parts and things, right? One of those important goals for every parent is to not make any part of a human body feel weird, right? Or feel shameful or feel, right? And so I'm backing way up. I'm going to get to your question here. For my grad students, we used to make all the grad students had to say in unison, right? You have to say vagina out loud. You have to say penis out. If you can't say that, you can't be a therapist, right? If you can't say body parts, you can't be a therapist. If you can't say body parts, you can't be a parent. That should be a rule, right? And we've got generations of kids who were ashamed of their body parts, right? It led to all kinds of stuff. So that's number one. Your 3-year-old is probably already there asking questions. They will become 4 and 5 and 6. During this time, they're going to ask natural questions. Where do babies come from? Where do I come from? That's when you can, in an age-appropriate way, with all of the joy and miracle and excitement you guys can muster, there are eggs inside of the girl body, right? And then they have sperm in the boy body, and they meet together, and then they make a baby. And we weren't able to have those in our body, so we got some from somebody else. And so we had them put in our body, right? So it's very, very natural. They will not carry the baggage that you guys feel. They'll just go, right? And so think about this. When you were a kid, well, I don't know how old are you?
39.
30. Okay, sweet. So you're 39. So we're in the same boat here. Trying to explain to us when we were 5 what an iPad is would have sounded like the Jetsons, right? My kids it was there when they were born. And that idea that they're carrying around this 3-centimeter piece of metal and glass that they can talk to people on the other side of the world and see their faces is they don't carry that. Almost every time I look at an iPad, I'm like, this is insane, right? So they won't carry that same baggage. As they get older, right, 7, 8, 9, 10, they will ask deeper questions. And that's when you can be more open about, hey, here's how mommy's body worked. Here's how daddy's body worked. Here's some of the medical challenges we have. And here's what was so neat. Like another family where it's willing to share you with us. And you're our baby, and you can show them where babies come from and the pregnancy pictures and all of that miraculous stuff. And it will be like a, whoa. As your kid gets to be 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, that's when they'll start asking questions about, hey, do you think my biological parents exist, right? Are they out there? Do you have contact with them? Do you know who they are?
We have names and information, but they're, as of right now, last we heard, they didn't want contacted or reached out to. So
okay. So what we've seen over the last 5 to 10 years, James, and what I expect us to accelerate is with 23andMe, with the internet, basically, man, there's very few quote unquote closed adoptions anymore. kids want to know where they're from, and they want to know who they're from. And now that we've got genetic stuff for medical things, they want to know what might I expect down the road, medically speaking. There's all kinds of things there, right? And so I would expect that. And by the time you get to those conversations, hopefully you will have an openness in your house, where your kids will come to you for things. They know you will never shy away from a hard conversation, whether it's a body part conversation or a sex conversation or a racism or politics conversation, whatever that looks like. You are always going to be a safe space that honors them when they ask questions, right? And then never makes them feel dumb. Then when you get to that 12 and 13 and 14 and 15, and they can understand science a little bit more, when they can start to understand heritage, where am I from, legacy, those kind of things, you can honestly and openly discuss that with them. And if you don't feel comfortable, there are professional counselors who that's their job, is to have those type of conversations and bridge those gaps. As you mentioned, there is some great children's literature out there. You can just look at Amazon to find some great children's books that will walk through these magical, it gives kids a picture in their mind so they can see it and go, wow, that's me, right? And it will make them feel a part of something when they see somebody like them in a book, right? That's why like inclusion in children's literature is so important. When a kid can see themselves in a book, it just feels like that kid looks like me. They have hair like me. They have skin like me. They have a face like me, in very much like your situation, right? They got to take a ride and put into mommy's tummy, and mommy had a big, big tummy, and then I was born just like, right? And they become part of a narrative they can see and experience. Here's the other thing. I don't ever, ever, ever want you to ever, ever, ever say anything other than I'm your dad and your mom's your mom. Is that cool?
Yeah.
I don't ever, ever, ever want you to feel anything less than their mom or their dad, because you are. Have you carried around stuff in your heart for a while about that?
Yeah, it's kind of difficult, and here we're trying to have another kid, however God deems necessary, if He does. And one thing we're going through, we try to get back in the same program. They told us it's not likely, and we've heard stories of people saying, after the wife's carried a couple, sometimes things work out and you have your own. And so, I think we're still kind of dealing with that in some areas. We had an incident a couple months ago where she kind of had some things that she thought might have been a pregnancy, but it ended up being something different. So we were kind of getting excited and, dealing with the whole it didn't happen again type thing. So I don't know. It's still some more in there. James,
are y'all staying connected through this?
Yeah, we do pretty well.
Okay, here's what I want to tell you. And I'm looking directly into the camera here. I know you can't see me, but I've been down this road, and me and my wife experienced the pain of infertility, the challenges with those things very, very differently. And we both thought we were pretty close. And then come to find out, whoa, we were experiencing these things way, way differently. And if you just went through yet another loss, and I'm not talking about loss of a pregnancy, I'm talking about loss of hope, right? That begins to weigh on your heart, that weighs on her heart, and it just weighs differently. So I want you guys to make sure you are hyper proactive about your relationship, how you communicate to one another, how you love one another, and how you give each other space to grieve, whatever that looks like for each other. This can be something that binds you guys together, but it can be devastating for a couple. Okay. And I've been there. Okay.
Yeah.
And most importantly, if you want to set that 3-year-old beautiful little baby and that 1-year-old little baby, those miracles, which is what they are, what they have done it's just unfathomable.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Listen, those are your kids, right? And the best thing you can do for those kids is be intertwined and connected at the soul level with their mom. Okay?
Yeah.
That's number 1. Number 2 is never think of yourself any less. They're not a step away from you. They are every bit of part of your soul, brother. And you did a brave, bold thing by going through the adoption process, by going through the embryo adoption process, which comes with risk, and it comes with hope. And there's nothing more intoxicating in this season than hope, and there's nothing more devastating than hope, right? You are their dad. They are your kids, and they will be forever. And your wife is a mom. She carried him to term. She's got 2 little babies, and they are your kids. You're a dad, brother. Let that sink in. Put all that shame, all that, hey, yeah, but there is no buts. You're a dad, my man. And start today creating a home where your kids' feelings count, where their questions count, where they see you and your wife having hard conversations together. They see y'all hugging together. They see y'all dealing with hard things together. Model those conversations. And man, you're going to create kids that when the hard conversations come, and they will, it's part of it. They're not going to go run into the hills. They're not going to go run to the internet. They're going to go running to the 2 safest people they know in the world. And that's James. That's you and your wife.